When I was a little girl, I always wanted to be famous, but I had no idea what it would be like being Victoria Beckham. And I surrounded myself with a fair amount of the wrong people. I can't wait to get pregnant again. Jerry knew me very well, and when she didn't call, in my mind, that's where I kind of said, OK, well. What must fancy me?
She rocks my world anyway. You can't beat Tom Cruise, though. He's good
Right,
looking,
babes, keep that
isn't
to
he?
yourself.
I'm just saying, he's good looking.
He's better looking with his skinhead.
He was good looking anyway, though.
No, I was never really mad on that hair. Angelina Jolie's really pretty.
She's alright. Oh, she's nice, actually. Really
Yeah,
nice.
she's very pretty.
She is really pretty.
Could have just said she's alright.
Well, if we're going down that Julia Roberts.
He likes Julia Roberts. And you got stuck with poor old Posh.
I know.
I think it's actually quite unbelievable. You don't actually realise until you actually stop and take a look at yourself, how everybody else sees you. It's actually quite scary.
God, it must be so hard for her. So hard, because obviously the weight problems, the pictures in the papers,
What's the photographer down there?
the headlines.
I still now don't ever really think, God, my sister's really famous.
But if you don't like her as a person, I'd say, how do you know you don't like her? You don't know her.
Hello, Kitty! So it's Saturday afternoon, going to the football, so I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it even more if I could remember who we're actually playing. We're actually playing.
It just never ceases to amaze us, you know, that there is this interest all the time.
Sorry, can you do my shirt, please?
The last 6 months have been really, really bizarre. It's been hectic, a complete roller coaster ride of emotions. I've had records, books, albums, the World Cup. To show that I am popular somewhere. I can't even begin to describe how it's been. It's been an unforgettable 6 months, to say the least.
She's criticised constantly. I think she's criticised more than any other female in the country.
You can never imagine that your child's going to become famous. I mean, OK, she wanted to go into show business, but you certainly don't expect fame. Well, not the way it's come anyway.
Victoria's got these two personalities, the one in the media where people see it and some people don't like it, but some people do. And then there's a side to her at home where she's laughing and joking and she's not worried about what people are saying about her, you know, and that's the best side of what no one sees.
Let me try and make the kitchen a bit more presentable.
Get this on camera because I've never seen it before.
What, the clearing up?
Yeah.
Do clear up.
She does a lot of cleaning. Yeah,
She doesn't. She doesn't.
You should just get a shot of David's mum. What is it with you lot?
She
What
doesn't.
is it?
She doesn't.
What is it with all of you?
You don't
Look, cleaning. People say, why do I still do what I do with the success of the Spice Girls, David, Brooklyn, the money, the fame? Why do I keep doing it? And it's because it's in my blood and I love what I do. I have to perform.
She's very, very energetic. She always liked music. One of her first records that she always used to dance to was Stevie Wonder, Sir Duke. Yeah, she just instantly recognised it as soon as it came on the radio with, you know, just the introduction to it.
earliest memories are probably me and her dancing together and things like that. And she always had to be the main part and I was always in the background dancing.
She was always dancing and went to dancing classes. First time, I think, at about 3.5.
I've always enjoyed performing, I've always loved singing, I've always loved dancing, and this was the one thing that I could do that would make people watch me and pay attention to me. My mum was a big Barry Manilow fan.
You know I can't smile without you.
I remember sitting at Blenheim Palace, sitting in a pile of sheep shit, watching bloody Barry Manilow in the pissing down rain.
She said, I'm going to be up there one day doing that.
Barry Manilow was definitely my inspiration. I wish it had been someone a bit cooler, but it wasn't until I saw Fame that I thought, that is it, that is what I want to do. So I loved Fame. I had all the gear, I had the shoelaces, the bag, the tracksuit, the leg warmers. And after seeing Fame, that was when I decided to take my dancing really seriously. And I joined a local dancing school and I spent all my spare time there.
She was a little girl with stars in her eyes when she first came, these big brown eyes. She came in and she did to the Shirley MacLaine, If You Could See Me Now. She did this dance, made it all herself with a little cane and a top hat. And she did this dance and she was 8. And she won a little bronze medal. I felt that she had got something, there was something different about her. She had a magic something.
I went back to my local dancing school recently to give out some awards, and it was really strange seeing all the dancing teachers I haven't seen for so many years. I had a really lovely day.
During her years with us, Victoria was always ambitious and worked really, really hard, as you will see, because her name appears on several of the wonderful trophies that she's going to present for us.
Where did I meet you before? Tesco's. Was I doing my weekly shopping? Thank you very much. He's in Japan. He's working today. He's working. When I was their age and I was getting awards, who'd have thought that I'd be up there dishing them out?
We've been trying to get her here for the open day for the last 4 years, haven't we?
It made me remember why I do what I do. You know, and I almost feel quite sad because I think all those kids that really want to do it, you know, they want to do it for the right reasons and it's nice. And I sometimes think what I'm doing now, so much of the niceness has been taken away from it. And they've still got that. And in a way, I kind of wish I still had that. It's great to come back and see everybody again. And if you work hard, you know, I'm proof that, you know, I'm doing really badly here. But no, thank you so much. I've had a lovely day, and it's just lovely to see you all.
It's lovely to see you, lovely to see you.
If Victoria hadn't have had the lucky breaks that she had and the people having faith in her to make her what she is, she probably would have been singing and dancing on the cruise liner. There are lots of girls with more talent, I'm being quite honest here, a lot of people with more talent that are doing less than Victoria is doing.
Und England, hier sind Victoria und David Beckham.
I think our lives have gone the same way, really. I wanted always to be a footballer, she always wanted to be a singer, but it's not come easy, of course. You know, I've worked hard at, you know, to be a footballer, and she's worked very hard to get where she is. You know, we have got a lot in common.
He's got underarm hair now.
Yeah, but so have you. Yeah, but so have you.
I've got facial hair as well. Shouldn't have said that.
No, you have. Seriously, you have.
Shut up.
You have.
That is... David and I tease each other, but he really gives me the confidence that I have now that I didn't have when I was younger. Because when I was at school, I was a complete minger. I had permed hair, the lot, not the best looking.
She wasn't sort of hugely overweight. I know the spots have always been the plague of her life, but we just tried everything known to man.
I never really fitted in at school, partly because I came from quite a privileged family. My dad, when he first started up his company, his ambition was to have a Rolls Royce. And he said, I'm going to have a Rolls Royce. And he did. And it's haunted me forever, but he did have one.
Her dad had a brown Rolls Royce, and if he ever dropped her off in the morning in it, she used to hate it because it used to antagonise people, and they used to say she was doing it for attention.
I was always aware that in the holidays, no one ever phoned for her to go out and play or come round or her go around there.
You do carry a lot of insecurities around with you, even when you are famous. And even now when I'm doing a glamorous photo shoot, you know, I still deep down feel like that spotty teenager. I don't think I'll ever lose that.
Do you like watching that summer love? Sipping champagne in a paper cup, laughing when you're making love. 'Cause I'm that kind of girl.
We are in LA, in a fantastic house actually, with a fantastic swimming pool, which I've been lying in. It took a bit of convincing to get me in a swimming costume, I have to admit. But I don't do swimsuits and things like that. If nothing else, we're getting a nice tan, aren't we, Pam? It's quite funny because to look this natural, it took about 5 hours. We've got 2 days for the photo shoot. I think it's going to be good. I put up a bit of a fight with the swimsuit. I wasn't totally into that, you know, but I'm like any woman, you know, nobody likes to be photographed in a swimsuit, do they? I first remember starting to get very self-conscious about the way that I look and my figure when I was 16 and I went to Lane's dancing school.
Don't look so serious.
If you're going into the specific field where your physique is of importance, then we have to bring it to your attention.
They do weigh you. They do make you very conscious of your weight. And as much as part of me would actually sit here and say, that's terrible because you are making people have eating disorders, one side of me says that, but the other side of me says, yes, but to be a dancer, you do have to be small. It's hard and it's horrible. And basically she was probably actually preparing us for what we were going to be told when we left. Some of the girls at these dancing schools eat tissues. I mean, not just anorexic or bulimic, they eat tissues. The things that people try to lose weight is unbelievable.
But I would not say that Victoria was fat while she was training. She probably did, during some of her time here, possibly need to lose some pounds, as most of them do.
And that's where the insecurities that were going to follow me for the rest of my life started, about my weight. Oh, what was that film we watched last night?
What Lies Beneath.
Oh, scary film.
So scary.
We wanted to go to the toilet, but we didn't have the nerve to go. We were so scared, weren't we?
We was.
So when you're promoting a record, it is so tiring. You go from country to country. One day I'm in Italy, the next day I'm in Japan.
You know what? I can't carry on.
Never know where you're going to wake up.
She can't. Is there a louse? I just want to hang myself.
Is there a what?
A louse.
A louse?
I really miss David in Brooklyn, but my best friend Marie-Louise always comes with me. Marie-Louise really fancies When I'm out of the country, I do feel that I can let my hair down a lot more.
Do you want to show us what you've stolen today? Oh. Straight in her handbag.
And recently we were in Japan and we went to a Japanese karaoke bar. I could never, ever do that in this country. There'd be someone taking a picture and selling the picture to a newspaper, and then it becomes a whole big issue. So my first real boyfriend was Mark Wood, and for some bizarre reason we got engaged.
I didn't get on with him at all.
He was an alarm engineer, and if only he'd have stayed in that cupboard that I met him in at my mum's house.
I didn't like what he would do and the way he would treat her.
I was actually going out with Mark when I saw the advert in the stage newspaper for a girl band. I'm Victoria Adams-Wood. I'm 19 years old and I'm from Hertfordshire. Actually, I was the only one who used the pianist because I think I belted out Mine Hair from Cabaret. While everyone else was singing like Queen of the Night from Whitney Houston, I was doing da 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 da, Mine Hair, da da da. It was a fine... In fact, did I have a top hat? No, I didn't. But it was very much show business.
You have to save water and all get in the bath. Oh, that! Look, this is where the crushed spider is.
It was an amazing feeling when I got into the band.
Jerry and Mel B were a little bit mad and noisy. But yeah, they seemed really nice girls.
They were very different from I think anyone we'd ever met because of just their confidence.
I remember they've been here before they're actually famous, and they just used to really embarrass me because I was only young.
They were all round and Melanie Brown said, "Have you ever seen any black boobs?" and just lifted her top up to him and he was like...
I mean, can you imagine my poor brother?
And they were all talking amongst themselves and they said, "Oh, when we're famous." And I said, "No, it's if." And I can remember they just turned around and said, "No, when?"
Well, I don't think we'll sign a contract until we get a record deal, so I don't know when that's going to be. We lost confidence with our original managers, Bob and Chris Herbert, because nothing really seemed to be happening. Nothing was moving along very fast.
They wrote down a list of things that they had to get sorted out, one of which was to find a theatrical manager, so they got out yellow pages and they went round and really sort of auditioned the managers.
We liked Simon Fuller because he had a fantastic reputation. You know, we thought if he's good enough for Annie Lennox, he's good enough for us.
If you wanna be my lover, you gotta get with my friends. Make it last forever. Friendship never ends.
Out of all their records, that was the one that I really, really didn't like.
Taking is too easy, but that's the way it is.
If they'd asked me for any advice, I would have said, well, certainly don't bring that one out as a single. But it was only #1 in about 26 countries, so I wasn't too wrong.
But Wannabe just caught the spirit, I think, of the time. You name it. I mean, the Eskimos were singing it, the Japanese were singing it.
If you wanna be my lover.
I really realised she'd made it when the record was played in the pub in EastEnders. When I heard it in that pub, the old Vic, I thought, wow, she's famous.
We didn't realise, I don't think, until we were actually on that podium, turning on the lights, and you see thousands and thousands of people. I mean, literally, as far as we could see, there were fans screaming. And you get up there and you think, my goodness, this is amazing.
On one occasion, on a Sunday morning, we woke up. I'm not really sure what was happening, but there was about 50-odd photographers and journalists outside, and when that happened, we thought, God, you know, what have we let ourselves in for?
I'd actually lived quite a sheltered life, really. So when I actually read this thing about that Mark Wood had sold about me, I mean, I was very embarrassed. So when my dad opens a newspaper and sees we had sex on a fast-speeding train, and I wouldn't even mind, but it didn't even happen. Do you know what I mean? I was just very embarrassed. Most people have a price, which is a bit sad, really.
I've never actually seen the show, so I really don't know what to expect.
No, this is not the American show.
I did wonder what I was going to have to admit to.
How someone lives that life in a total shell that's glass.
If Victoria goes into a shop, then someone in the shop will phone the press, and within no time at all, they're there taking pictures, and it looks as if it's been set up.
I interviewed with someone today, and they said, you know, you're on the front of Now magazine this week, which I am, and they said they genuinely thought that that was an arrangement, that I would be on the front. You know, I'm as surprised as anybody when I go in there and see myself in the front of a magazine. If you think, goodness me, people genuinely do think, hey, do you know what, I'm going to Bond Street, picture me coming out of Gucci in half an hour. I genuinely don't do that. I've employed a lot of the wrong people, and I've surrounded myself with a fair amount of the wrong people who have done that for me.
You know what? No one's going to be looking at me. When was the last time you went on a bus?
3 days ago. I took Brooklyn on a bus. I went from one meeting to another on a bus in 5-inch stilettos and a miniskirt.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. He was firing questions at me really, really quickly about Alex Ferguson and Jerry, and I just answered in a very tongue-in-cheek way. And as soon as I'd said it, I just thought, shit. They promised me that they would take it out the show, but, surprise, surprise, somebody leaked it to the press. I know, I shouldn't have said about the boat with Jerry and Alex Ferguson.
But it was funny.
It was very good. It was lovely. Was that good, Buster? Was he good? Did you see Mummy on the telly? But I think he's terrible at interviewing. You know, he didn't ask any... I just didn't feel that he got anything out of me, really. You know, most of the time I was being so diplomatic where he was just trying to catch me out through the whole thing. I'm trying to look down my top as well. I'm giving you
I see her in that cat suit and it done it for me. That was it, I was gone completely. So I think it was the hair that done it for me at first, you know, and the hair and the face, but then once I see the body, that was it.
He reckons he knew before he met her. He reckons he saw the Say You'll Be There video and knew he could love her. He just had to find her.
I'll give you everything on this, I swear. Just promise you'll always be there.
I do believe in love at first sight, and I did know from the first time that I met him that I was going to end up with him.
They weren't allowed to be seen together. We had to do like a Mission Impossible thing, and he had to drive to the Little Chef. I'd pick Victoria up in my car. We had to go to Little Chef. He'd have to park his car there, and we'd sneak him in the boot with a blanket over, past the press outside the house, right outside the back door gate, and he'd have to run out in so he wasn't photographed.
I didn't kiss her the first couple of times. I think she was hoping for a kiss the first day I came down on the Sunday, actually, but she didn't get one. She didn't get one.
He didn't even try and kiss me.
She didn't even get a peck on the cheek, actually.
I can't remember how many times I saw him before he kissed me. Quite a long time.
Double acts have always had a certain fascination. They were both famous in their own right, but when they came together, it went poof, and they became 20 times as famous, you know, as a couple.
It's been quite good actually today because Nancy's arranged my schedule around David having a home game. So I get to spend more time with David, which is good. Even though I say that I'm not really interested in football, I have got more interested, and it's good to come and, you know, and watch. Everyone's a lot nicer now to me and David at games. But what really used to upset us was when they used to say horrible things about Brooklyn.
In the European Championships for England, we'd just lost 3-2 to Portugal, and some so-called England fans were shouting things, saying things about Brooklyn, and I flipped. And they said, I hope your kid dies of cancer or something. So to say something like that is pretty hard.
Now, everybody's forgotten about that because he's a hero.
Beckham. Darling of his country and darling of his club, David Beckham's win.
You did well today, didn't you?
was only on 10 minutes.
I know, but he still did well.
You didn't watch it.
Got a goal.
You didn't
I
even
wasn't
watch it.
watching because Brooklyn was getting irritable. Wanted to go in the crash.
When was the last time you saw each other?
When was it? It was a long time ago, wasn't it? Before the Germany game.
A week before the game. But it was a double header because we had the Germany game and then we had the Albania game. So we was together for like 12, 13 days, I think it was, at the end of it.
What?
I'm talking about my other girlfriend. I don't know why they call me thick, you know.
I don't know why they call you thick, babe. I said to him, do you get nervous when you play football? And he said, no, not at all. And I said, you must do, because, you know, before the Germany game, I was ringing him up saying, ooh, you're nervous. But he gets really, really nervous about...
No, I'm not
wait
nervous
for it,
about it.
Singing the national anthem before the game.
Yeah,
case the
when the
TV
camera's...
camera.
No, because the camera goes along the line.
So you take a leaf out of my book and mine.
Exactly. So it runs in the family, see?
Arguably the most recognisable footballer in the world. Yes!
He deserves nothing but praise, and I'm proud of him. God, when we get these amazing headlines like Superman and Knight Beckham, you know, I'm the one who's going to get all those framed and put on the wall because I'm so proud of him.
I owe Sir Alex Ferguson a lot, I owe Mr Ericsson a lot, but, you know, I think the rock behind me is Victoria. You know, she's the reason why I'm, you know, so happy and I'm playing well, and because I'm happy at home. You know, if I wasn't happy at home, then I probably wouldn't be the person and the player I am.
It was funny because Simon Fuller was the one who introduced me to David. He always said that I should really have a famous boyfriend.
Simon, he was very much a control freak. He was like a Svengali figure. I can see it from Simon's point of view that he had this product that was so successful that obviously he just wanted to keep driving it and driving it.
We were so busy, especially when Simon Fuller was looking after us. We were so busy. We were going from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next.
He used to look after them in such a way, I think they call it divide and rule, you know, where you literally split the girls up. So if they want to speak to somebody about something, rather than speaking to one of the other girls, they'd speak to him.
We weren't as close as a group, and we wanted to get some of that control back.
The girls had this big meeting, sacked Simon. Now Simon used to run their security and absolutely everything. So, I mean, the girls walked away and literally there was just the 5 girls. You know, they didn't have anybody looking after them. It was literally just them on their own.
Looking back now, was it the right thing to do? I don't know. I just love being pregnant.
I just love being told that you're pregnant. But the papers first. Normally. No. It's the best feeling I've ever had.
Worrying though. I was the whole time being pregnant. I think that you worry
a lot of things
so
went.
much.
A lot of things went on. We were worried about things, but a lot of things went on when you was pregnant, didn't they?
But it's fantastic.
We got through it.
And that giving birth, oh, I love it.
It was
People think I'm
cesarean.
mad,
You
I
didn't
just
even
love
feel it.
It's so exciting though, isn't it?
And I got to hold him first as well.
I was away so much that when I found out that I was pregnant, I could actually pinpoint when I'd seen David the last, and it was in Copenhagen.
Pop music's worst-kept secret is at last out in the open. Geri Halliwell, Ginger Spice to her fans, has left the Spice Girls.
I got a phone call to say that Geri had left the band, and, you know, we need to have a meeting about it. I said, you know, in actual fact, I can't have a meeting about it today. My sister's just had a baby. This is actually more important. I have to see my sister.
And it was on a Wednesday, and they were supposed to be on the lottery that Wednesday evening. And I can remember the first thing that Victoria said to Louise when we got there. She said, get your ass out of bed, you've got ginger hair, you can go on stage with us tonight.
I was very surprised. I mean, there was no big argument like everybody likes to think there was. She just obviously wanted out. I actually think that she probably regrets the timing. She doesn't know our children. You know, it must be very lonely for her. She must be very, very lonely. You know, and I think you kind of have to feel sorry for her for that.
The Spice Girls are here to stay. There's absolutely no problems with the American tour. That is going ahead as planned.
You're not going to believe who's just rung me. Your nan and granddad.
She rang me up when I was away and she was in America. And I was on a coach full of, well, the rest of the players, and she told me that she was pregnant. And that was just, I think, well, I'll always remember that.
Beckham's holding his head. I think a yellow card is going to be brandished here somewhere, and it's a red card for David Beckham.
Just didn't realise the implications. When Victoria then thought, hello, he's on his way over here, that's great.
I only realised how serious it was really when I saw the press. When I saw his head in the middle of a dartboard, or when I saw a picture of some dummy, you know, hanging from a pub, in the newspaper, and they were saying that he was the most hated man in Britain. It didn't change the way I felt about him at all. When you actually look at what we achieved, it was amazing.
The Spice Girls have sold 35 million albums around the world within the space of a few years, and that's really quite remarkable.
After the success of the Spice Girls, going solo was really, really nerve-wracking, but I really wanted to do it. On this album, I worked with Soul Shock and Carlin, who are two American producers that have worked with Whitney Houston and Tony Braxton. So working with me was a real shock. They've come to film these big-time producers.
Yeah, so we should be big-time.
Going from being in a band with 4 other strong personalities to all of a sudden finding yourself in LA with 2 producers who have worked with fantastic people that I've always admired from a really, really young age. Be on your own, you know, and singing in front of anybody is quite a daunting thing anyway.
But she definitely had a little concern because we've been working with so many big vocalists, you know, that when she came in to sing the song, you know, she almost said like, hey, you know, I'm not Whitney.
Yeah, shake your face.
And we said we are aware of that.
See, they don't do bad, these producers.
We tried to get more out of her, you know, we really tried to make her sing those high notes and stuff, because the songs were maybe more R&B and we wanted to get some of that vibe in there. But she pulled it off though, definitely.
It's so strange because I'm only just starting to kind of see what I've been working on for the last 2 years. It's only now that you can really see where all the hard work's gone.
Don't back me up in cotton wool upon a pedestal. I'm such an innocent girl. If you touch me now, I'll break. Don't think of me that way. Won't break my heart.
Okay, this next song that I'm going to sing for you is from my album. This song is called I Owe You, and I wrote it for David. And I hope you like it.
Love is such a precious gift. One thing in my life I know is true. I owe you.
I wrote I Owe You for David because he completely inspired me when I wrote the whole album. And I wanted to dedicate a song to him because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have actually made this record.
I remember she just came off the phone and she was crying, and once she'd calmed down I remember saying, what is it? And she said that someone sold a story on David, and it just went from bad to worse really.
I was very, very upset because as much as he's telling me this is not true, I swear on our unborn baby's life this is not true, I am still reading. He had a huge erection as he stood up and walked away from where we'd been rolling about for the last 3 hours. And I'm reading this 7 months pregnant. And David is saying, yes, but I don't even know who this person is.
You just feel physically sick. And I think Victoria was sick, actually.
Actually physically beat him up. Punched him in the face.
It was a tough time for us both. Probably more for Victoria, or obviously more for Victoria than me, because the stories were about me.
All the other girls phoned me and were really, really supportive, but Jerry knew me very well as well, and she knew how that would have made me feel. We'd had dinner in Saint-Tropez, so it wasn't as if I hadn't spoken to her for a long time, and I was very, very surprised that she didn't call. And when she didn't call, in my mind, that's where I kind of said, okay, well, that's that, you know, because I would have called her.
But, you know, it's, as I said, you know, we've come over different hurdles in our relationship, and that was just one of them, you know.
And finally, Victoria Adams, better known as Posh Spice, has had a 7-pound baby boy in London tonight. He's being called Brooklyn Joseph Beckham.
It was, said an obviously elated new father, David Beckham, the most amazing, if one of the scariest moments of his life. The birth of baby son Brooklyn Joseph Beckham.
David was awful. I remember he was choosing his outfit, what outfit he was going to wear, you know, when he went out to the press.
And then you asked me to do your hair before you went outside. Cut. Can you believe it? He said, does my hair look okay?
Very well, she's set up, she's drinking champagne, she's very well.
When you go into the operating theatre, you have to wear the doctor's outfit, and my mum looked like my mum. Her hair was everywhere. She had this blue thing on. Where David's hair was all done, he had the blue outfit on and matching trainers.
I don't think you can compare scoring a goal with, you know, having a baby. You know, it just doesn't come anywhere near.
For as far as you could see, outside the Portland Hospital were fans, TV crews, newspapers. I mean, it was unbelievable. There was a big banner in a shop 5 minutes down the road from the hospital saying, Brooklyn this way, and an arrow pointing to the hospital. And I actually got quite paranoid seeing all this, because I'm thinking, my goodness, you know, what if something happens? What if someone tries to get in? So that night, David came down after he'd had a game, and we put Brooklyn in, I call it a fish tank, you know, the little kind of things that they have to sleep in. Put him in the fish tank, and I made David sleep on the floor with his head against the door, so if anyone came in, they had to get past him first.
You think, is there nothing else going on in the world?
That is actually the upsetting thing.
Yes.
When
not
that long ago, Victoria was on the front page for doing something ridiculous.
And on page 5, there were 2 trains had gone like that. Loads of people had died.
Where there was another one where it was Victoria on the front, and page 13 or something, it was a little girl that had been killed by her father.
That's right. And Victoria, and why?
I mean, I know all these stories that are in the papers, that we've bought this and we've bought that, and we've spent so much money on jewellery and cars. People pick up the newspapers and believe that. But 99% of it is totally not true. Totally not true. And I'm so aware of what people think when they pick that up and see that. And they've got mortgages to pay and this to pay. And I can realise, yeah, that would piss people off. Pisses me off. And it's about me. But that is out of control. I cannot control what is happening in the media. I knew when I was promoting Not Such an Innocent Girl that I was going to get a lot of media attention. But I can honestly say that none of it was about the music. I actually find it quite amazing that people can say and write things that are total bullshit. I have never ever said I wanted David to leave Manchester United, ever. We did have a bit of a trauma today. The choreographer, Paulette, walked in and she says, who's got the girls' costumes? So I said, what do you mean where the girls' clothes? The girls have all got their own clothes. No, they haven't. So I ring up the other stylist and I say, where are the girls' clothes for the road show today? Oh, they're here with me. Where are you? London. We're going on in an hour and the girls have no costumes, so thank God for Henny's, because we sent the choreographer to Henny's with like about 50 quid to style and sort of like get black combats, black tops, headscarves, accessories. I just could not hear what she was saying. All I was thinking about was I dropped my mic pack, messed up my choreography, and I was panicking about that.
I only pulled that one bit.
And I actually was joking around with one of my dancers, asking what the lady had actually been saying to me. And then the next day, I just could not believe the backlash. I mean, it's a piece of jewellery.
Victoria's been keeping her lips firmly sealed today after appearing with a new bit of jewellery at a concert. She was wearing a lip ring, although she hasn't actually had her lip pierced. Not much consolation, though, for the parents of teenagers wanting the same look.
This is Jordan. It was a really pathetic thing to do. I have an 11-year-old sister whose age group love to copy what pop stars do, so I know the effect she has on fans. Jordan does full frontals of her crutch and tits out, and she says that I'm a bad influence by wearing a fake ring. I hate to think where the hell she's got fake rings.
You really not like her?
No. I think she's vile. It was funny because no one had even picked up on the fact a couple of weeks before that I'd actually had my belly button pierced. I look at all my dancers, they're all lovely and tan, nice little tummies, nice little diamonds. So I went in and they said, OK, you've got to have this bar. I said, well, I don't want that bar. They said, no, you have to have this for a few weeks. I said, no, I want that pretty little diamond. They said, it might get septic. I said, no, it'll be fine. Well, of course, went septic.
Finally, the event billed as the showbiz wedding of the year went ahead as David Beckham married Posh Spice Victoria Adams. The lavish ceremony took place in a Gothic castle near Dublin.
The press and public were kept out. A magazine has paid a reported £1 million for the photos.
People may think I'm fair game because we sold our wedding pictures to OK magazine. But that was a long, long time ago. It was right at the time.
We put £1 million down, cash, 2 years before the wedding. I think she thought we were raving mad, actually.
The wedding was very exciting for everybody. It was great for us. It was great for OK magazine.
She realised it was a huge commercial proposition for both of us.
We didn't earn out of it. We just, spent the whole money on the wedding.
I'd seen an episode of Friends where they were getting married and the church they were going to get married in was being knocked down. So they basically covered the whole of the interior of this church in fairy candles. And it looked really cute. And I said, that's what I'd like the place to look like when I actually get married.
It took 10 months to organise, and when we arrived at the castle, we arrived 10 days before. Reams of articulated lorries full of trees, lorries with marquee equipment. In fact, I think the final total was about 380 people working on David and Victoria's wedding.
When we were actually flying to Ireland, we all got on the plane, and Victoria's wedding dress was in a massive, I think it was in 2 big boxes.
So we had to try and push it onto this private plane.
It just physically wouldn't fit through the doors, so we had to sort of take it out of the box. We had the dress piled on top of us, and then David was at the front. We were all saying to him, don't look round, because he wasn't allowed to see the dress.
I wasn't nervous at all. I don't understand why people get nervous at weddings.
I wasn't nervous as Gary was. Gary was so nervous. I walked into his bedroom and he stood there with a deodorant can practicing.
I didn't actually plan on the wedding being as big as it actually ended up. I mean, I think that everything and everyone did get very carried away, and you get to the stage where you think, sod it, it's my wedding day, and I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
I can see it now so clearly because it's just like a picture on David's face. He was like, wow. I mean, tears in his eyes, wow, kind of thing.
When she walked through the archway, it was just amazing.
I mean, I felt pretty much the same. It was when I saw him standing there, I mean, I couldn't wait to marry him. I couldn't wait to say, yes, I do, and I'm married.
I knew it was right from the first moment I met her, but I think it just topped it all off when she walked through.
If he was to leave me or anything like that, I would die of a broken heart. I would.
She's getting a lot of sort of stick at the moment off certain people, and it would be nice for it to turn around and people to love her. That's what, like me, because I love her.
Do you know how many Valentine's cards I got this year? Have a guess.
That's 2,000.
one from David. No one fancies me. I don't know if I have to do FHM and, you know,
FHM covered.
You know, crutch shots and short skirts. I don't know what it is.
Maybe they're fun with David.
There's got to be someone out there. I'm not complaining because obviously David fancies me, but there's got to be someone. I'm on the telly, for God's sake, even if it's just because you think I'm rich. I know it sounds really snobby, but I do feel quite at home here.
There is definitely to Victoria. She goes into Posh Spice when she does the heels, the outfit.
Well, you see, the thing is, I really want to be Joan Collins, and Joan wouldn't wear trainers.
You should see the wardrobe at home. Amazing.
I bought everything.
You have everything.
I tell you what, I wouldn't mind some more of those knickers, you know, with the little diamantes on.
Thanks
There you go.
very much.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
And then there's the other side that when we're sitting indoors, she's combat cap, no makeup, you know, that's the Victoria.
I bought a belt. Well, yeah, Louis Vuitton don't make it. Now I'm going to get into so much trouble because you are not allowed to do this. Louis Vuitton will be so pissed off, but it will look good anyway. We've got a toy shop we've got to go to. I've got to get Brooklyn a present to take him home. But you know, it's funny because you can buy kids like all the flashy toys and, you know, Brooklyn's got every single toy you could possibly think about. Well, this one links up to a computer. He loves these more than anything. You know, like these little Matchbox cars. Could I do this at home? Not quite as easily. I really hate to do it, but I think I'm going to have to buy it for Brooklyn. I hate the fact I'm buying Bob the Builder. It's like... Yeah, I do like Dolce & Gabbana, but then you know, I love high street shops. I think you can get some really good bargains, and they're great shops, do some really good stuff. So we're going to go and have a bit of a shop. It's good as well because we get free clothes. Paul, can we find like the manageress just so I can just check that I can pick some stuff out? Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem. I think she is commercial gold. If any fashion designer has her endorsement or she reveals that, you know, she actually wears Armani shades or Gucci shades or actually buys stuff from Topshop,
Like this.
I think that they'll be rubbing their hands together and realising that they're going to be in work for a few years to come.
She's very important because she's very famous, very popular, it's young. It's very important because it's one young generation, and for every young people, it's important because she's represented like the new icon, and it's for my market, for Dolce & Gabbana market, it's important. This.
Victoria Beckham, Posh Spice, made a surprise debut on the catwalk today in London Fashion Week. She models some revealing outfits by the designer Maria Grachvogel, who's a friend of hers.
Maria was very, very sweet. She'd done me a lot of favours, and this was a bit of a kind of payback, you know, I was doing her a favour. And then I put on the hot pants and the little polo neck top, and I walked down there and I stood there and they're all taking pictures, and then I thought, shit, I've got to turn round. And I had hot pants on that were going right up my bum. And it's like, you can't exactly go, get out of there, do you know? I was so embarrassed.
I've seen plenty skinnier people than Victoria, and she's very tiny, she's very petite. I mean, when I first met her, she was probably a size 8, and now she's more of a size 6, so what, she's lost a dress size, big deal, you know?
I've had it all from skeletal spice to porky posh, to, you know, I mean, I've had, you know, all of it really. I started eating properly, I mean properly, fish, vegetables, pasta and all the rest of it, the day I found out I was pregnant.
She eats, you know, she eats. I'm with her, you know, whenever I'm with her, she's, you know, I cook her meals and she always eats loads and loads.
The first thing anybody ever says about me is, you're tiny. People watch to see what I eat. I go to restaurants and people wait to see what I eat. I go shopping and people want to see what I'm buying. And at first I was really upset about that. And if someone was walking around with food, I would often pick something up and eat it, just to show to people that I was eating.
Why do you think everyone thinks you've had a boob job?
Because I've got a big old pair of boobs. Any woman knows you can make yourself look flat-chested, you can make yourself look like you've got a big pair of boobs, bit of toupee tape, a nice bath, hold your stomach in, push your boobs up, you know, and a good old bra. I feel so, like, vile.
That's it, boys.
Did you have a good day at What's It then, David?
Yeah, it was all right. Scored 2 goals.
Oh, good. So you won then?
Well, no, because they got 3.
Victoria got these Burberry pyjamas the other day, and of course Burberry, it's all Burberry, and we both had them on the other day, and we were sat there with Brooklyn. He was sat on his little seat in his in our lounge, and we just looked at each other and said, God, that is us.
These cucumbers are a bit hot.
They're courgettes, David.
We laugh about it, but I think you've got to laugh about things like that. You know, we don't find it offensive. Obviously, there are some things on the telly that are offensive to us, but, you know, you've got to sort of let them go over your head, and we do.
There was a event recently, a charity event that the two of them turned up to, and, you know, a load of other stars turned up and nobody really bothered, but as soon as the two of them swept into the room, and that's the only way I can describe it, you know, looking immaculate, just returned from holiday, boom, every camera was focused on them and everyone was gawping at them in the room. And there's only certain people who can do that. I've not seen it many times. There were a lot of very jealous celebrities in that room.
We really don't do that whole celeb thing, all the parties. That's definitely not us. Our only real celebrity friends are David Furnish and Elton John.
Elton and I have been asked to be Brooklyn's godparents, which we were thrilled to be asked. It's nice for Elton and I because we'll never be able to have children. For a lot of people in this country, they are living the celebrity dream. They really are Mr. and Mrs. Everyday, suddenly gone famous.
I do love being famous. You know, I love being able to do what I do. And of course, everybody wants to read the nice things. But you have to be able to take the bad things, and I do take them.
Police are today refusing to comment on reports of a £1 million plot to kidnap Posh Spice Victoria Beckham and her son Brooklyn. The attack was said to have been foiled by an elite police unit.
They knew where they were going to take him, what time he was going to be taken.
They said that Brooklyn was going to go the next day.
I mean, I think that's the most terrifying thing that can happen to any parent. Brooklyn lived like a prisoner. It was awful. Absolutely terrifying.
It was a horrible time. Victoria found it really, really disturbing and very, very upsetting, and David did as well, because Brooklyn means more to them than anything. I mean, he's the most precious thing in their life. To suddenly see your fame and your celebrity and your professional work, which has nothing to do with your child whatsoever, suddenly becoming and being turned into this massive threat for your child's safety and security.
I have been through a lot in these 27 years. And that's why I decided to write a book now. They might not be interested when I'm 50.
It's been probably her toughest time, just because when you bring out, you know, a solo album, you've not done it before.
I was really worried to know when we'd turn up.
You know, she's on her own, she has to do things for herself, and she's been loving it.
When you're on your own, it is quite nerve-wracking. So, as I said, my whole family came, so if nobody did come, my mum could just buy all the books and just go round and round in circles. I think I've been overexposed. I mean, when I started writing this book 2 years ago, we always knew when the book was going to come out. But when we started writing an album, we never knew when the album was going to come out. And it was basically just pure coincidence that they came out at the same time. And I think that, you know, overexposure is a problem, is something that I face. And I don't know what to do about that. I've just been working too hard, is what it is, obviously.
Carly's working hard, isn't she?
She's working very hard. Australian pop diva Kylie Minogue is streaking ahead of her rival Victoria Beckham in the race for the #1 spot.
When I first heard that record, if I'm being totally honest, I didn't like it. And I'm being completely honest.
I mean, the Kylie record is a fantastic record and probably almost the best thing she's ever put out in her career.
I'm quite an old-fashioned type songwriter. I like a song that has lyrics, that has a good melody. Now, I can't dispute that it has a very catchy melody, but I like a song that has a bit of emotion. And I have to say that last year, when I brought out a dance record and I had effects on my voice, like she has on her voice, I am still getting a caning for it now.
Who do you think you are, telling me I've gone too far? You must be out of your mind. Telling your friends I was thugging you, that you weren't playing true, slipping out of your mind.
She did that one single for us, the Dame Barrett single, the True Steps single, and it was really clever because it took a very hip garage outfit and it was much cooler than anything any of the other Spice Girls had done. But it didn't reach #1. She's still the only Spice Girl not to have a #1 record, which must gall.
Well, with the first single, we were disappointed that it didn't get to #1. It doesn't always work that way, and that's why I was trying to explain to the artists. You have to be realistic.
And it's all down to preconceptions. How can I expect to have a huge record when it's my first record? Kylie Minogue has had lots of albums out and now is her turn. And I look at everything she's achieved and I think, wow.
It's a generic, polished pop single. It's not, it doesn't have actually the wit and the sort of hooky wit that makes something absolutely stand out.
There are people that love Victoria, there are people that love me, but then you've got the other side that don't. So, you know, she'll overcome that, but she works too hard not to succeed in this.
If anyone wants to know what to buy me for Christmas, I love one of these.
Heart's got a mind of its own. Won't listen to a word I say. Doesn't it know that I get hurt too when it acts that way? 'Cause when it breaks, I break. I don't know how much more this I can take. Doesn't it know that I get hurt too when it acts that way?
I'm not going to give up. I know a lot of people want me to, but I won't. I never have done. I am very, very determined. I love what I do, and believe you me, I will work my backside off, but I will not give up.
She has been, obviously she will continue to be a wonderful daughter. What else can a mother ask?
I think Victoria will always be thought of as a style icon.
Because I don't see her like that. You know, I see the Victoria wearing the old clothes with no makeup.
I like Victoria when she's at home, in her pyjamas, watching telly, no makeup, knickers tied in her hair, being normal.
She's living a dream, living a fantasy for other people. It's what a lot of young girls and young women, I think, in today's society aspire to.
It's amazing to be with her, absolutely amazing. You know, as Michael Jackson says, you know, she rocks my world anyway.
When I look back at everything that's happened in this 27 years, I do think, what next? You know, where does the story end?
It's going to be good, this documentary, isn't it?
Do you know, I think you should just shut up. It's going to be better than yours. You weren't even in your documentary. Couldn't even spare the time to be in your own documentary.
It wasn't my own documentary. Someone just decided to make one of me.
No, it was your documentary.
It wasn't
you just
my
didn't want to be in
documentary.
it.
Don't make me sound horrible. I had nothing to do with it.